What do you hear about the return of the NBA as we're sitting here on June the 10th? This is going to be attempted, we all know, but how likely would you say this is going to be, that there will be a finish?
I feel like it's likely. I think that the NBA is as diligent and a prepared league and organization as there is. Adam, obviously, we all know, has been able to lead the NBA through ups and downs and always does it with grace, and you don't think he's going to make a decision without covering every angle and seeing everything twice. And I don't think you announce that unless you're fully intent on going ahead with it, and I think it makes sense. And then you see the MLS is going to be there before them, which I think is probably a good exercise for the location, and just to see how the league operates there. But I expect them to fully be there.
And what are you hearing about what players will be allowed to do once there? What are you hearing about the protocols?
I really don't know. I've only read what I see. I only read what Woj wrote about, like, if they leave, got to come back and be quarantined. But, because I only work with Kevin, I speak to other guys, but I'm not in the middle of this time in our world getting in their business on their return to play. But it's never been something I've really thought about or tried to factor in just because Kevin wasn't doing it.
Okay, so the conversations you may have with people in Kevin's orbit or stratosphere of player or anybody that you've spoken to, would you say that the players are lockstep in saying, yes, let's go to Disney World, let's finish this thing up?
Yeah, I think like anything else in the world right now, it's always with this qualifier is everyone wants to make sure that it's safe and secure. And, there's a lot of things right now way more pressing than COVID and the return to play that's going on in our country. And I think that people's minds are occupied. But the NBA players, I would assume, want to be back, want to play, want to compete, want to be able to be any source of inspiration for our country, and it's needed right now. And I think that the idea that there'd be an asterisk next to this in any way is silly to me. If anything, the asterisk it would represent that this season would be harder than any other season. An asterisk implies that you didn't have as tough a challenge or as tough a journey to get to the ultimate championship, or somebody else was hurt or whatever. The season was cut short. In this case, there's more obstacles and challenges than ever before. So
I agree with you, Rich. 70% of the season's already been played. That's number one. Then there's a several months off, and then you have to show up in one spot with all sorts of distractions. When I mean distractions, I'm not talking about Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I'm talking about everything that you normally do to get ready for a game and play a game and try and win a championship is totally out the window. And I'm assuming some players are bringing family members, or some are leaving them home. I can't even imagine. I don't think there'd be an asterisk at all. I think it would be a wow. That was one of the most impressive championship seasons, and one that I hope that we'll never forget, and hope one we will never have to attempt again. That's the way I hope it would go.
And I think that what's interesting about it is, so the season stopped to a halt like March 13th or something.
Yep.
They're going to go back to play July 31st. That's 5 months. So let's just even say July 1st for when training camp starts. If you look at that as like a traditional offseason, from year to year, there's teams that just come back and aren't the same team, or there's teams that come back and surprise you and are better than they were the previous year. So I think that storyline is going to be somewhat interesting. And teams that are younger, that have benefited from their home court, that may not have that advantage or won't have that advantage now. So I think it's going to be pretty exciting, and I think there'll be surprises. Obviously, the stars and the best teams are the stars and the best teams, but let me ask you guys a question. Who do you guys, is there someone that you think, is it LeBron? Is there someone that everyone unanimously wants to win this now? Is there a team you guys all want to see win this?
Look at you, Rich, going on sports talk radio on us here. I don't think so.
Or City, man. Rich from Manhattan.
Oh, please.
He's on the line.
Oh, please.
First time, long time.
Yeah. I don't have. Hey, the New Yorker in me says, come on, let's get Durant out there. Rich.
Yeah.
I know you said that.
Rich from Manhattan. Rich from Staten Island's like, come on, if the Nets advance, I want to see Durant.
Rich from Staten Island.
Yeah, long-time listener. A long-time host.
Long-time
host, first-time caller. Literally first-time. Well, actually, no, I have called into my own show.
I think for me, it's like I want to see what the Bucks do. They've been the best team in the league this year. They've really dominated the East. Giannis is the clear MVP, and I want to see if they can put it all together and take this one home.
I want to see what the Clippers do too. You know, this is their best chance in such a long time, and then this all occurs. You know, and
I think the Clippers benefit in some ways if you think about
why is that?
The home court advantage. I'm not saying that they don't have one, but it's not something we've necessarily attributed to the Clippers. And 1 through 10, they're veterans who have played on the big stage, who have won, who are fourth quarter players. I mean, they're loaded. But clear-cut MVP, Giannis, wow.
So are you saying, Rich? Are you saying that there's really no clear-cut home court advantage for the Clippers because Durant once dropped 50 and then turned to the fans and said, "Who do you think? Don't forget my name," or something like that? Didn't he do something like that?
Well, that was before the game.
He's staring at Billy Crystal, and he's staring at Billy Crystal and Jimmy Brooks and all those famous Clipper fans, and he's punking him. I think that's what he did.
Well, I wouldn't say punking him, and I'm not saying the Clippers don't have a home court advantage. He did put up, I think it was 48, right, or was it 50?
I think it was. It was a great game. It's one of the all-time great performances. That's for darn sure.
Were you there? He was.
I was not there. No, I was not. If I was there, there'd be a better home court advantage.
Wait, Rich, who do you think?
Probably would adapt it up too, two Riches from the borough.
That's right.
Wait, Rich, who do you think is MVP this year?
I don't know. I just don't know if it's clear cut. I mean, I think that I think there's no way to say I have that conversation without having a strong LeBron argument to it. So that was all it was. Clear cut is runaway. There's been some runaways. I just didn't see it as a runaway.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron was having a remarkable season.
LeBron's also playing with another top 5 player. I mean, Giannis is playing with the 4 of us.
Is he really playing? I haven't seen Del Tufo suiting up for the Bucks recently. But
I'm ready to go in, Coach.
Wow, calling the rest of the Bucks the 4 of us. That's quite something.
Were you including me?
Yeah,
I was including you and then the 3 of us here.
It was, in fact, including you. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.